Dr. Julienne, who lives in Nairobi and came from Cameroon, and Lucia is from Italy, and now he lives in Rome after working in many countries in Africa. And many of us, our participants, are joined from different countries and different continents. And we move forward, and we share a belief. We can contribute building for a better world. And welcome everybody to this inspiring dialogue on women empowerment and leadership, health, peace, and social cohesion through ethical and transformative leadership. On behalf of Gandhi Mandela Foundation and Women Leaders of Latin America, thank you so much for being here. We are not just participants, we are a people committed to shaping a more human and inclusive world. Because the truth is, health, peace, and social cohesion are not built only in institutions. They are built in relationships, in truth, in dialogue, in the courage of care. And that's why we are here, and the leaderships begin. And now it's a great pleasure to have Dr. Raúl Vaquero to open the dialogue and to share the vision that brings us together today. José Raúl, the floor is yours, and we are a little bit late, but we are going to move. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, dear colleagues and friends. It's an honor for me, as President in Spain of the Gandhi Mandela Foundation, to welcome you to this season of Inspiring Dialogues. This initiative, developed together with the international community of women leaders of the Foundation CD, reflects a shared commitment to promote dialogue, human dignity, and gender equality as essential foundation for peace. Today, we are not here for a conference. We are here for something more important. We are here to listen. In many spaces, people speak to convince. Here we speak to understand. This is the spirit of this dialogue. We believe that peace is not built only in institutions or agreements. Peace is only built in simple human actions, in how we listen, in how we respect others, and in how we recognize the value of every voice. For this reason, this space is based on two simple ideas. First, respect. We listen with attention and without judgment. And second, share responsibility, because this dialogue belongs to all of us. Today, we are also highlighting an important theme: the role of women, gender equality, and the need for new, more positive model of masculinity. Because a more just world requires not only policies, but also cultural change, I invite you to participate with openness, with respect, and with a sincere willingness to listen. Now it's my pleasure to give the floor again to Maureen, who will guide the dialogue. Let the dialogue be a small example of the world we want to build together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, José Raúl. This is no typical dialogue. A typical webinar is a dialogue. And we are going to explore three main ideas: how health and peace are created through relationships, how women leadership transforms communities, and how each of us can carry these lessons into our own lives. This is very important. Before we begin, just a brief note on the flow of our conversation. Each speaker, Dr. Julienne and Lucia, have around 8 minutes for each questions to share their insights. And at the end, we will open a floor for 15 minutes of discussions and question and answer with all of us. Let's begin to introduce, it's an honor to introduce Dr. Julienne, my friend for many years, but an amazing professional person, an amazing person too. For over 30 years, he has worked on the front lines of some of the world's more complex health crises, Ebola, COVID, Mpox, and other ones. But what makes her work truly powerful is this. She reminds us that epidemics are not only biological, they are social. They're about fear, trust, culture, and human connections. Welcome, Dr. Enoko, and let me ask you a question. From your perspective, what does it really mean to say that health and peace are social produce, especially for women and community? Thank you. Julienne?
Okay. Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. Good
Yes.
afternoon, everyone from Nairobi, the rainy Nairobi. And thank you very much for inviting me. And thank you for your patience because I had some connection issues. It's raining too much. So sometimes the connection is up and down. So I will ask you really to be patient with me in case I lost the connection is over, but I will try to do my best. I hope that technology will take me up to discuss this dialogue. Thank you very much. So thank you, Mrs. Maureen Vargas, my friend for more than 25 years now. We have been working together in several things. We live together. And you asked me a very good question, right? So I'm an anthropologist. I think I already told you that I'm an anthropologist and epidemiologist at the same time. So a cross-discipline, a multidisciplinary background that is my own. So I've been for more than 21 years a frontline responder in the most very dangerous outbreak, and I'm grateful because I've always been in the front line, sometimes elite transported, in the field with some men, a team of 7 that WHO, the World Health Organization, my organization, used to include me always in the front line, to put in place this anthropological perspective to respond to outbreaks. So what does it mean for anthropology? What does it mean to say that health and peace are socially produced? Let me tell you first that anthropology shows that health is shaped by social determinants, which are the structural conditions of people's lives. Health comes from social organization. Health comes from economic conditions, from political system, from cultural beliefs, and from historical context. This means that health is not simply the result of medical care or individual choices. It is the outcome of power relations, social inclusion or exclusion, and the distribution of opportunity. I can continue to say that anthropology, we have insights, some insights that support us to really address health problems, which are often reflect broader social problems. For example, when you have, for example, in the case of women in particular, the women are the knowledge holders. They are caregivers. They are first responders in crisis. They are also key communicators and influencers. They are also custodians of social cohesion and sometimes of traditions. So this anthropological perspective demands co-creation, not from the top-down programming, but the bottom-up programming. This is what is really important when you respond to outbreaks and when you are a woman in the front line. You have to think that women are essential, men are essential, but the most important is to put in place this bottom-up approach and not the top-down. So the anthropological perspective also highlight the importance of trust. trust and communication in the two-way communication. Two-way communication means that I respect you, you respect me. It is not only your perspective, it's also my perspective, and we have to sit down together and we have to co-create the solution, because the crisis is either affecting you and me. Although we are coming from different countries, from different culture, all of us, we are affected by a crisis like an outbreak or any health or crisis or humanitarian crisis. So anthropological perspective also reveals us that gender inequality undermines both health and peace. If health and peace are socially produced, then gender norms that disadvantage women directly produce worse health outcomes, higher vulnerability to violence, barriers to participation, weaker community resilience. Let me continue and say that therefore, supporting women leadership is not an add-on. It is fundamental to building healthier, more peaceful communities. When you use anthropological insight, it encourages holistic, sustainable, and resilience intervention. Understanding the social production health practitioners move from short-term fixes to structural changes, integrate health, protection, peace building, and development. With anthropological insight, you are able to address power dynamics within a community. The summary that I would like to give you in one sentence is that to say health and peace are socially produced is to recognize that they arise from social relationships, power structures, cultural norms, and economic conditions. And this understanding is essential because sustainable community engagement, especially with women, must address these social foundations rather than only medical or security symptoms. I think that I will stop here from now. If further, maybe I can add more insight when we will have the question and answer session. Thank you, and over to you, Mrs. Maureen. I think you are muted. We cannot hear you.
Sorry. Okay, thank you so much, Julienne. You clear us what means medical anthropological, and in that way, I would like to ask you about how this practice functions as a form of ethical and non-violence leadership, especially during the health crisis, and how they contribute to strengthen social cohesion and preventing conflicts. You have many experience and you have many professional practice that we would like to hear you about your work.
Thank you very much. I think that your question goes right to the heart of anthropological leadership in public health emergency. You know that dialogue and trust and community engagement are not just methods. They are non-violent. They are ethical norms and leadership that actively shape social resilience and prevent conflict. Anthropology's core practices, which means the dialogues, which mean trust building and community engagement, act as a countermeasures, a counterweight to the forms of fear, to misinformation, to coercion and exclusion that often escalate tension in health emergencies. They lead through relationship rather than authority. I can just give you maybe 1 to 2 examples. For example, dialogue replaces coercion with listening, dignity, and it shares meaning. Dialogue is a form of leadership that gives voice instead of imposing direction. It counters the top-down dynamics that often fuel resistance of communities when we have to respond to an outbreak or any humanitarian crisis. Through the dialogue, believe me, we have demonstrated that we articulate their fears, the cultural logic and lived experiences. Through the dialogue, we can contribute to solutions rather than being targets of intervention. Through dialogues, the communities feel respected, dignified, and included. Dialogue also prevents the violence and exclusion. I've experienced this through 21 years of responding to outbreak as a frontline, as I told you at the beginning. I always implemented the dialogue at the beginning, respectful dialogue. And we have seen the difference when we start by discussing, by dialoguing with people, by co-constructing, by co-elaborating the response, the emergency response and interventions. All the resistance disappear. People adhere because they feel respected. They feel that they belong to the response, to the outbreak response. They are not out of the outbreak response. They understand that they can sit because we bring them together on the table to sit together with the responders. Sometimes I had in DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, in a war zone of the province of Goma, I organized a meeting between the Director General of WHO, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. I organized a dialogue between him and community leaders. You cannot imagine a Director General of WHO coming from Geneva, sitting with a community leader who is walking barefoot and asking him, how can we do this together? This is the power of dialogue. This is the power of the resilience. This is the power of respect, the recognizing of the alterity and the culture of the other, the recognizing of other one beliefs. This is how we put dialogue in the field. This example that I gave you, I can give you many more other examples where I have ministers of health seated with community leaders, seated with women, visiting their kitchen in the middle of nowhere just to ask them, how can we do this together? This is a threat. This is our threat. How can we address it together? Share your answer with me. Share your knowledge with me, because our communities, they have a lot of knowledge. We just need to sit with them to co-construct. So I can give you thousands of examples, but I will stop there for example, and I will continue to tell you that trust building is also leadership, and it is based on care, transparency, and ethical presence. Trust is buffer that absorb tensions. When people trust, rumor lose power. When people trust you, fear decreases. When people trust, cooperation increases. Collective problem solving becomes possible. Trust creates this social glue needed to maintain harmony during stress and during fear. You have addressed COVID-19 in the world. You have seen where trust were in place. People were feeling protected and respected. And the last thing I would like to talk about is the community engagement. Community engagement redistributed the power and strengthened social cohesion. Community engagement shifts the power to local actors. He acknowledged that community are knowledge holder. They are not only beneficiary, as we used to say to tell in the international meeting. They are not all. They are the key actors. They are the key stakeholder because they have a knowledge. They are also first responder because outbreaks always start in the household, and this is where the outbreaks also stop. If you don't invest in the household, if you don't invest in the community, your outbreak will not stop. You will not be able to control your emergency. We have seen during COVID. In Europe, for example, we thought that we have very strong health system. We have very good hospital until COVID arrived. And we know what happened in Spain, for example. We know what happened in Italy. We know what happened in the United States. Those countries where we thought that we have strong health system. But when COVID arrived, we discovered that our health system were weak. We were not able to give care to all these people because we didn't prepare our community to sit with us on the table and discuss with us and bring together and discuss the solution. So I will continue to say that The women community engagement is also women engagement. Especially, it is crucial because women maintain social networks. I know what we used to call women gossip, but believe me, that women gossip is so interesting. It is so nice, it's so sweet, because this is where we share those small ideas. You know, in some villages in the morning, when women wake up, the first thing is, how did you sleep? That how did you sleep means that, is everybody in your house okay? Are they in good health? This is what how did you sleep means. So that gossip is so important, and women are the first person that have the information on maybe the starting of an outbreak. Because how did you sleep? She will respond, my daughter had diarrhea, for example. My father-in-law came, he has fever. I don't know what, my neighbor has this and this. And this is the start of an outbreak. From our experience at WHO, this used to be a start of an outbreak. So investing in those women is really crucial to make sure that they detect early and they report early. Any issue that is happening in the household is where that can be the start of a big outbreak, and we have to invest in women's engagement and in community engagement. So what are we? I'm really at the end. You know, I'm passionate, Maureen. You know me. I'm passionate with this my job, and I can talk about it for hours. But I have only 8 minutes. I think I still have 1 minute remain. So I will try to close and give the floor to you back. But you know that I'm so passionate that I speak about this for hours and hours and hours, you know. So we continue to say that the practice of community engagement transform health responses into space of solidarity rather than space of fear. During a crisis, communities experience uncertainty and grief. They fear everything. And there is a grief and social disruption. Leadership based on dialogue, trust, and engagement fosters collective identity. We are in this together, as I told you. The Director General of WHO, Dr. Tedros, were telling to community leaders, we are in this together during Ebola outbreak. It also gives you a mutual support system, local problem-solving capacity, shared responsibility, and health outcome. So I will try to close this to give you back the floor, Maureen, and people who are listening to me. Solidarity reduce the likelihood of scapegoating, misinformation-driven violence, or breakdown of communal relation. Anthropological leadership turns health responses into opportunities to reinforce the moral fabric of the community rather than tear it apart. In one sentence, let me close with this. Dialogue, trust, and community engagement act as a non-violent, ethical leadership by redistributing power, fostering dignity and inclusion, strengthening social bonds, and preventing the misunderstandings and exclusions that escalate into conflict during health crisis. Thank you very much, Maureen. You have the floor back. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much, Julienne. Well, what's amazing, like all the time. Before we continue, please write your questions and don't forget it at the end of the sessions and ask Julienne and Lucia. I don't have too much to say. That we hear from you is very clear. Without trust, there's no help. Without dialogue, there's no peace. There's no women empowerment. So we are built very often in the communities, as you said, and you have lots of experience in the communities, and the way of people organize, decide, and support each other. This brings us to Forest and Farm and Producing Organization from FAO, Lucia. They may look like economic structure, but in reality, they're a space where leadership, inclusions, power, and negotiation every day. And without them, women are transforming the rules. And what Julienne said, the women transforms, women have the leadership, women are the voice in the communities, and women are the dialogue in the communities. Women produce the change in the communities. And now it's a pleasure to welcome Lucia Gerbaldo from FEO, Farmer Organization, FEO. I don't remember exactly. Well, Lucia have more than 15 years food agricultural organization. She has worked across many countries to strengthen women leadership in forestry, climate change, pastoralism, and rural development. She has helped build a network of women who are not only producing, but leading, deciding, and reshaping governments. Well, Lucia, welcome to this space. We heard that Julienne experience, and I would like to hear you about your experience and how this FFQO organization becomes a space of peace and cohesion, particularly through women's transformative leadership.
Thank you very much, Maureen Vargas, and thank you to the Foundation for this invitation. As you can see, today is a sunny day, Rome. So it's really an honor to be here, and especially meaningful because of the values that guide the work of this foundation. So thank you so much. And replying to you, Maureen, yes, the forest and farm producer organizations, in brief, FFPOs, are economic structures. They help local communities improve market access, strengthen livelihoods, diversify income-generating activities. But FFPOs are not only economic organizations, are, as you mentioned in the question, also social and governance institutions. They are spaces where the people and the members of the organizations can learn on how to work together, how to solve common conflicts within the communities, how to negotiate, how to manage differences, how to build trust, how to make decisions in their own communities. And here, women play a crucial role. According to FAO, a recent publication, women account for 36% of global employment in agri-food systems, but yet they remain widely underrepresented in institutions, decision-making tables, and despite their essential contribution to food security, resilience strategies, and rural livelihoods. So this means that the issue is not wherever women contribute. They already do. They are already contributing a lot. But the real issue is wherever they have voice, they have recognition, they have representation, and the power also to shape the institutions, the decisions around them. So if we want a real and lasting growth, economic empowerment and inclusive leadership needs to go hand in hand. Women's economic status has social implications, and as well, leadership and decision-making depend directly on economic empowerment. So we can't disconnect the two dimensions. And we need to move beyond economic empowerment when we work with FFPOs on the ground, regardless landscape, regardless different contexts, and we need to focus on socioeconomic empowerment. I'm the gender expert and social inclusion expert of a program in FAO called Forest and Farm Facility. It's a program implemented by FAO, but also IED, IUCN, and other partners, including from the private sector. And the program adopts a multidimensional approach. The program focuses on 4 main outcomes. One is, of course, on economic empowerment, so supporting the FFPOs and also women-led FFPOs to grow in terms of business development, to move up in the value chains, to strengthen their income-generating activities. But as well, the program focuses on climate change resilience, mitigation and adaptation strategies, social and cultural services in the communities, as also Julienne mentioned, the importance of that, and inclusive governance. So this multi-sectoral and multidimensional approach really teach me, and I observed in that program that women flourish when their livelihoods and also the rights and leadership opportunities advance together. And even I remember when I work in Angola, in Benguela province, in a small communities in Katanda. And I remember a few years ago that where women were expected during community assembly simply to sit, smile, and clap their hands. They weren't allowed to speak up. But when we organize as a project and as a project manager, we organize like a separate focus group, and we give them like the time and the space to meet and we created this opportunity for dialogue also with the local authorities. Women had the clear, practical, and super smart and feasible solutions for common community problems because, of course, they have a lot to say. Because often they are responsible for water, food collection, care work, and many other tasks. So they have solutions and they can provide a lot of contribution to the practical needs of the community. Sometimes it's missing this time and space for them to support actively to the problem solving and to find the right solutions and to also share their vision from the community future. But as well is not enough to hear women only on their practical needs. It's also fundamental to work on strategic needs. And for this, I mean to give them leadership opportunities, voice, rights, representation, and influence. And this is why inclusive governance matters so much. So when women's leadership becomes transformative, when it changes who shapes decisions. And here I have a clear example from Ghana. And I can see here there is also Alima Sanjito, who is the founder of this Savannah organization. And since 2021, this organization, the Savannah Women Organization, has trained more than 500 women leaders in leadership, advocacy, policy analysis, also translating the national policies in local languages. So everyone can understand, can also use the policies for exercising their rights. And these organizations supporting more than 550 young women. And these in the women's group, the women have spaces to exchange, to build confidence, to also they become spaces for solidarity and conflict resolutions. And these change real outcomes. For example, in Nanton, after consistent advocacy, the chief allocated communal farmland to 60 women farmers. And this is not symbolic inclusion in a place where often the customary land rights are stronger than the national policies. So this work done by this organization on the ground in this context really changed the lives of a lot of households, families, and women. And this is why it's so important that women find the voices and the place in which they can start to shape and change the policies, challenging the norms, the social norms that perhaps might affect them and their inclusion, and also change the status quo. We need women in positions of power. We need to see that this change needs to happen in multiple forms if we want to break down those structures. So that is why women's leadership is not only about representation, it's really about transformation, as you mentioned, Maureen. And this is also why I like to use the word change makers, because that is what these women are. They are simply entering existing system. They are reshaping these systems. So, and this is how peace can become ordinary and can be discussed in every negotiation space. Maureen, you are muted.
Sorry. Sorry. Okay, thank you so much, Lucia, for your exposition. But I would like to hear you a little bit more how women contribute to the peaceful communities, how they could their decision making are vital for the communities, and in your experience.
Yes, I would like to answer to this question with the two questions, maybe to everybody. So, how do the ethical values move from principle to practice? How we can create a very inclusive space where the communities, women and men, can exercise their values? And how do they stop being admired words and become lived habits? And because values become peace and peaceful practices when they become also procedures, when dignity becomes a way of organizing participation, when the dialogue becomes a way of taking decisions, justice becomes a way of sharing power, resources, and accountability. So, and I would like to start with these three words as the core value of this foundation as well: dignity, dialogue, and justice. So, first, dignity. Dignity becomes real when women are treated not as invisible labor. And we know that women are massively contributing to several value chains, and they are taking on their shoulder the hardest work, especially in the first node of the value chains. But this work is invisible. When we move up in the value chain, mainly the men are taking the advantages or the profit and are really managing all the big and more profitable businesses. So this we need to first make visible this invisible work. And but as well recognize the women as agents with the knowledge, with the skills and competencies. And these sound obvious, but in practice it changed everything. For example, came to my mind now from Vietnam, one organization called Vietnam Farmers Union. They work on inclusion, but also they operationalize these inclusion practices. So women and youth were deliberated, including in cooperative boards. They managed to rotate the leadership. They have statutory and internal policies. They can support them to make sure and monitor also the level of inclusive participation and leadership within their organization. So, and activities are also planned around the reality of women's work and care responsibility. So the participation, effective participation in the cooperative boards are really effective, not just in paper. So the women were participating in several training, not only as a producers, but also as decision makers. And all this work resulted in several advantages for everyone. Households reported an increased income from 5 to 20% in 2 years, while women's voices were systematically heard in decision makings related to seeds, practices, market strategies. So this approach was very effective. And the life of these women was really taken seriously in terms of the knowledge is taken seriously. The institution is providing the right space and voice for them to actually provide the contributions for the all cooperatives. And second, the dialogue. Dialogue is not just have the opportunity to speak, just to have a seat in the negotiation tables, but this is also it's matter the power of influence the women can have. And also I think that women's leadership is often in this case especially powerful. For example, in Gambia, another case from the national farmers platforms, they brings together 340 organizations representing more than 551,000 people with 58% women, 41% youth. And the important point is not that the scale, is not only the scale, it's the structure, because locals concerned can move from district to regional to national level through committees, representations, and they create a structure where the local organizations and the cooperatives had clear dialogue with the more structured cooperatives and also market actors, but as well policymaker actors at provincial level and as well at national level and beyond that. And women and youth were trained in market analysis, cooperative policies. Women also created their own spaces for collective reflection, including meetings and WhatsApp groups, to be very prepared and also to improve their own confidence, to be fully in the position to exercise their rights in formal decision-making space. And that is the dialogue that become governance. And I'm really a fan of the Weekend Network because I'm coordinating the network, but not only, because it has been an opportunity to know a lot of amazing women around the world, women activists, founder of women-led organizations, also practitioners from different realities. And the Weekend is a community of practice that connects more than 200 women-led organizations across 31 countries and is focuses on the drylands regions. And the objective is to share the best practices, strengthen advocacy, also make their voices heard from the local to the global level, in particular in the climate negotiation spaces, because we believe that also the women voice and contributions need to be heard at in the three Rio conventions, so at the UNCCD, UNFCCC, and CBD COPs. But this is a process from national to international, and is more than a network. And I think that here, in this online network, they can really support each other. They can listen and learn from other experiences, and it's a space where these women leaders build confidence, technical knowledge, exchange, solidarity, and solutions. And this is super important because sometimes I can see, and I have the privilege to talk with women leaders every week or sometimes every day. And it's common to feel time by time a bit alone in their own work. And to have the guarantee to know that in the network or in our ecosystems, there are also other women that are maybe facing a similar challenge, and maybe they can give us an input, or they can provide us solutions that might, with some adaptation, might also work in our realities. So I think that the purpose that can be also replicated or extended or adapted in your own work and context is to facilitate the connection, and the connection that can build trust and can strengthen collective actions and coordinated actions, also on advocacy purposes, but not only, because the ecosystems really matter so much, I think, for women. And this is what I heard in during my knowledge exchanges, my meetings with the Weekend members. And I think that this has a very deep peace building meaning, because of course I hope that officially there will be more and more women involved in official peace negotiation tables. The world, especially now, needs that. But I also believe it is equally important to carry these values wherever we are, in our context, our communities, when we are organizing side events, and we can transmit these values in climate negotiations, in local assembly, in the international conventions, where we also in the space where we prepare our community members or our colleagues to participate. And even there, especially there, we need to bring values of peace, of dignity, and dialogue. Also, the third important word that I think we need to reflect on is justice. Because in only with justice, values can become credible. Because without justice, dignity can become symbolic, dialogue can become like a performance. But when we, in our FFPOs, in our local context, we introduce transparent rules, accountable leadership, visible fairness in how benefits and responsibility are shared, even among women and men and marginalized groups and youth in our communities, there we can see the real change. And a strong example comes from Milulunga in Zambia, a local organization located in Zambia, where the group amended its constitution to support women leadership, elected a female chairperson, adopted a rule that 50% of profits go to women members. And this is important because justice is not just abstract, it's also built thanks to the procedure, the organizational rules, and it changes really in practice who leads, who benefits, and how trust is built. And so that is justice in practice, clear rules, visible fairness, real accountability. And this is how also peaceful community life is strengthened through structural advocacy and global processes, but also through our everyday actions that shape trust and relationships. Because really those actions matters. Through how we are organizing our meetings, how meetings are run, through who is heard, through whatever rules are fair, through whatever institutions can be trusted. So if we want women's leadership in FFPOs to be truly transformative, then we must support women not to be as a participant, active participant, but also peace builder and change makers. And we must not only invest in our activities, but in ecosystems, as I mentioned, not only in voice, but in governance practices that allow values to live and to be fully exercised. So
Okay, Lucia.
yeah,
Thank
I
you
would
so
like just
much.
to end with the words of Mahatma Gandhi, to be the change we want to see in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, you gave an amazing speech about what is your work, and we learned a lot about your work, about the emotion involved in your professional job. And this is very important. Both of our speakers today we began with very powerful message. These are conversations, as you saw, are not separated. They are deeply connected. They are deeply the same part of the dialogues of the justice. They do not belong only to experts. They belong to all of us, because all of us are involved in this part of the topics, because each of you is in your own context, in your community, is also shaping health, peace, dialogues, and social cohesion. So we would like to hear your words, your questions, what you have to ask for Lucia and for Julienne. Please raise your hands. I have 5 questions from Rebecca, but I would like to hear first the people who raised their hands, and then we are going to give you space for the Rebecca questions, which I wrote in the chat. Please feel free to ask the questions to our speakers. They are amazing, two amazing women, and so we have the time. Yes, yeah, please.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate our speakers for the amazing issues they brought here. I'm enchanted with hearing both of them because I'm not an African, but I work in Africa several years ago, and I learned many things. And many of those things I learned, our speakers brought it here. First, the bottom-up approach. That's something I may say made all the difference in my work. I'm a nurse, okay? I'm a nurse. I work in the health field, and that's to the health field I want to address shortly. In the health field, women are absolute leaders. Women have in their own hands the health of their siblings, the health of their elderly, the health of themselves, and the health of their husbands or whatever. I can state that, and I just would like to add one point to make myself clear. In my study, I did my PhD study in Africa. We came to a result of reduction of maternal mortality about 70%. Okay? These are data. What do I think? It was due. It was due to women involvement, to women leadership. So this is my approach. I loved whatever our speakers told us, but I must emphasize that women have also the possibility to give us positive results in the health field. These results are very significant. And this is what I want to share with you, and thank to Lucia and Julienne about what they told us. Made me happy to hear from them, and I'm very happy, and I wish all the best for you and all the best for your initiatives, and have a Portuguese hug to all of you.
Thank you. I don't know if Julienne wants to say something.
Yes, thank you, Maureen. Thank you very much, João. I'm happy that you are sharing your experience. Let me just tell you that what you have said is exactly true, and we see it every day. Most of the time, study like the one that you did, they are not published. People don't know about it. They don't know about what incredible is the work that women are doing, and it is quantified, because most of the time they don't publish those type of result of the quantification. So I'm congratulating you for this great work, and I can reassure you that in my field of emergency preparedness and response, I can see it every day. It is not just because we have an emergency and we want to respond to it, to stop the outbreak, but it is also when we prepare for outbreak. And let me tell you that we did a lot of work. One example can be during, for example, the Ebola outbreak in Guinea, Republic of Guinea, which is a West African country. We were in an area bordering two other countries like Cote d'Ivoire and Liberia. And I can reassure you that women can give you positive results. If they are not taken into account, they will block everything, what I used to call the invisible power. So we see that invisible power every day in the field when we are responding to outbreak. In that part of the Republic of Guinea, women were not involved at the beginning of the outbreak. We only received, the visible power, a group of men. They came and they say, we are the representative of our communities. They negotiated everything with WHO, with the ministries of health, and we started responding to outbreak. We were having a lot of people infected every day, at least 10 people. And you know that Ebola virus fever is the mortality is really very high, you know, between 40 and 70%, sometimes 90% of people. And 2 days later, after the meeting with the visible power of men, we were not able to go to the community anymore. Everything were blocked. All was blocked. So women decided to kidnap, I will say it into bracket, to kidnap the community, their husbands, all their men. They went out naked. And you know that in that community, you cannot see a woman naked, because any woman is either your sister, your mother, your grandmother, and you cannot see them naked. So men remain closed into the house. Women decided to conduct this strike, a community strike, for 4 days. No food, no one cooking, women walking naked, everything were blocked. They put the trees on the road, and I was asked, of course, as anthropologist, to go and see what was wrong. So when I went there, I organized what we call a healing dialogue, because everybody was sick. We had many people infected in the house, and women were still outside, although they were all, some of them were sick, but they decided to keep this community strike, walking naked for more than 4 days. So when we discussed with them, they said that their men went to negotiate without consulting them, and they cannot accept that. So we started everything from scratch. We discussed with women, we co-construct the solutions with them, and they led the Ebola response. And after 2 months and a half, women were doing contact tracing. They were encouraging everybody to really inform about symptoms. They were preparing food for their community. They were taking people to the hospital. They were singing, encouraging their community. And we stopped the outbreak due to the fact that women were really leading this outbreak response, and we were teaching lessons from them. João, let me tell you that you can be happy with what you did in that area where you work. Women are strong. Most of the time, some stereotypes don't really give them the place that they deserve. And we don't imagine that we have an invisible power which is there, and it is led by women. I can give you 25,000 of examples, but I'm happy to know that you are doing this, and we are together working.
Together. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You.
Over to you, Maureen.
Thank you very much. And then, Haya, will you please ask your questions? I don't know if you are mute. We can hear you. Can you hear Haya? No. Okay, sorry. Then I would like to hear what Miles want to ask. Miles?
Okay, thank you so very much. I just want to talk about what Julienne has talked about COVID-19. I run an organization that works with the rural women. So when we were struck by COVID-19, everyone was on lockdown. And then we ourselves in the countryside, we had no people coming into the rural areas. So what we did, women never went on lockdown. The women were collecting food from the forest to come and give their families. It's from the women where the idea came of inhaling certain species of the trees in Zambia, like eucalyptus and the other things, lemons, you know, the leaves of the lemons, ginger, where they could boil together. And then they said, when you boil this water, just get a blanket and then you have to be there and inhale. And this kind of recipe worked very well in Zambia, in the rural communities, and the word spread. So what I would like to say is that women have got a lot of knowledge. In fact, even in the traditional medicine, we in Africa, long time ago, people never used to use conventional medicine. The medicine which was used was from the forest, and the women were the ones in forefront. But what is there is that women lack resources. If women had resources, maybe to add value to that medicine, but also showcase those medicine. And then maybe because the science wants to prove before people can start using this medicine. If women were given chance and they had these resources, I can assure you, women can, contribute a lot to health sector. But it's only that women are ignored in terms of resources. We are not even part of the people who give resources. Even in those meetings, we are not there. So this is the reason why it seems like we are lacking behind. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Julienne, you want to say something about that?
Hello,
or...
I'm back. Hello, I am back. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear? Oh, okay, yes. So, yeah, my name is Salima from Ghana. I wanted to just say thank you for this dialogue. It's a very good dialogue. And then to Dr. and Lucia, you've done very well in terms of your presentations. I just want to connect with the piece when you asked the question about women leadership and peace. So I wanted to say that it's very important that from the work that we do under the FFF project, we realize that when you empower women economically, then you are lowering poverty and you're also lowering inequality. And as long as those two major drivers are there will be tension. But when you're able to lower it, then you are reducing tension and you're also reducing unrest. So there is a very direct link between, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
There's a direct link between economic empowerment of women, leadership, and then peace building in communities. So when we create a sense of dignity because we've given women economic power, we've given women voice, we've given women visibility. So what we are doing is that we are putting them to realize their purpose. And the moment they get their purpose and their belonging, then you realize that they value themselves and then productivity increase. So, and where we work as organization, a lot of our communities are conflict-prone communities. And so it is the economic activities we do under the FFF that is contributing to reduce the tension. So that's a very important thing to do when it comes to women in leadership and women economic empowerment. They are very direct to peace building processes. As long as you don't increase people's economic value, you don't increase their dignity through their self-worth and their own ability to generate income, then what it means is that you are creating tension in the communities and people begin not to be accessible and they begin to be very worried and social cohesion is never possible. So for me, it is important that leadership and economic empowerment are put together so that the end goal becomes creating social cohesion in communities and promoting peaceful coexistence among women and youth, and as well as the general community. That's just the contribution I want to make. And also to say thank you for Lucia. Is able to coordinate the weekend very well. Every week we are doing new learning, which is good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have another question from Adewale. Please. We can hear you. You're mute.
Micro, Adewale, micro, please.
Hello.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Sorry.
Okay. Just first of all, on the dialogue, though I was a bit late, but I came in at a time I was listening to some interesting parts that I was actually involved in so many years back. I'm Dr. Ade Wale Osho. So I speak to you now. I'm speaking from Nigeria. So I just want to talk about my experience as it relates to what some of the speakers have said. Particularly, there was somebody, I think, I don't know, maybe she's from FAO. The person that spoke after the speaker from FAO spoke about what women do. I have been opportune to work with women in Senegal and the Gambia. And the southern part of Zeginsho, Casamas, these are special people, predominantly farmers. And they like to go farming rice. Most of the time, everything, economic activities in that region basically are from women. The woman does everything. They go to what we call in French, la.
Sorry, we can hear you. Well, if somebody have another question? No? Well, thank you so much. Yeah, Paloma? We would like to hear you.
Hello, I am Dunya Khouri from Lebanon. Can you hear me, Maureen?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah. Thank you for the presentations today. It was very interesting with Julienne. Lucia, you are our voice, the voice of all the weekend members, because it was really a great opportunity for us to be members of this community. And it's great to meet the people from all over the world. Yeah, and all the women of the South, we are supporting each other, participating, and they give us the chance to be part of at the high level at the UNCCD, at the UNFCCC. So we are part of negotiations we are really, it's a great opportunity for us, and sharing with from the online session that we are participating. So I would like to really this opportunity today to be part of this online, because it's what we are doing in Lebanon. Our organization is the Women Association of Deir al-Ahmar, which was founded since 1991. And it was really a response to, Lebanon, because we have a lot of trouble since 1975. We are really in high and down, high and down all the time. We have problems, we have the war, we have, and so the contribution of women was really very important. And our organization was part of this, the dialogue of this social cohesion, because, the war is making a lot of trouble in the society. And we, as women, we play a crucial role to make to again the social cohesion. Of course, we are speaking about health. I think that our organization put a strategy first to empower women through training, through capacity building, awareness, including health sessions, including health with the Red Cross. So we have all the time to be ready for the problem that happened. We are of course peace building, because without women we cannot really arrive to the peace, because we are also educating our kids how they have to really to live in peace with others. So I think that I saw on the chat that somebody, one of the intervention on the chat, that we need funds. Of course we need funds, because but when we begin we begin from zero. When we begin and we prove ourselves as women, as what I want to say to the group is that really we have to come together first as women. We have to come together to build our NGOs, to be able to arrive to the to build partnership with the local and with the local governance and with the local and with the national at the national level. So we go from the local to up, from down up. From the local, we grow and we are recognized. We can get funds. We can support each other. We can make our programs, our projects. So this is how we can build our peace, our social cohesion, and how we can really empower women. And of course, the health is the first priority. Health is first priority. So we have first to build our health as women. Also, we have to look on our proper health, to look the health of our families, the health of our communities, and this is how we can support and we can really be women's empowered and women's leader. Thank you so much. Thank you for the interventions, and looking to meet you all again.
Thank you very much for answering my comment.
Thank you very much for all of you. I think it's time to finish because we are on time. We close with three very important thoughts. Health and peace are built in relationships. Women leadership is already transforming communities, as we hear now. And ethical leadership is something we practice every day. And perhaps one of the most important things is that the leadership is not little. It's a practice. It's a practice of how we listen, how we include, and how we choose to act. And today, our speaker reminds us we are very similar in every part of the world, and we can contribute to build a better world with this type of activities, with our commitments, with our practice every day. Thank you so much to Lucia, Julienne, and everybody who participate in this amazing, inspiring dialogue. I'm very happy for your contributions and for my friends to be part of this. And thank you for the Gandhi Mandela Foundation and Women Leadership. José Raúl will be close the activity. The floor is yours.
Okay, it's time to close this event. Today, dialogue was wonderful, and it reminds us for something essential. Women's empowerment and leadership are not only a matter of equality, they are pillars for peace, public health, and social cohesion. When women lead, community becomes stronger and more resilient. At the Gandhi Mandela Foundation, we work to carry forward the legacy of Mahatma Gandhi and Nelson Mandela, two leaders who believed deeply in human dignity, no violence, and justice for all. Their teaching guides us to promote freedom and human rights across the world, and they remind us that the true progress requires ethical leadership and shared responsibility. Our speaker highlighted an important truth. The change we seek is both structural and cultural. It demands politics, but also mindset. It requires institutions, but also everyday courage. Thank you for your openness, your leadership, and your commitment to building a world that reflects the values of Gandhi and Mandela. Until the next event, goodbye and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.